last time either one of you guys were in the wigwam?
That's funny you asked that.
Is that gonna be on the show?
Last week we did a photo and video shoot last weekend there.
Yep,
Nice.
seriously.
What it look like? What it look like?
Man.
It's a little sad, Coach.
Yes.
They had some graffiti on the walls and even
Oh,
some
really?
painted on the floor, which is kind of sad.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it looked old, but it was
Uh-huh.
still the same
Yeah.
awesome feeling.
Had
when
that
we walked
feel,
in
the
there.
smell.
Oh,
the-
it was
just-
great.
Yeah.
It- Nothing like that,
When
really.
you walk in and see it, it's almost like, wow. I mean, you start reliving,
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
you know, like immediately. You
Yeah.
know, that atmosphere, man. It's a huge part of history,
Yeah.
man. So that's exciting. So you got me thinking about, you know, outside the box.
Uh-huh.
So now, how does that transfer to the coaching position with your boys, man? Are you thinking outside the box? How are you looking at this season? The excitement, the challenges.
Yeah, I'm really excited moving into the season. This is my second year here at Lapel. The first year, you know, we're coming off of a few coaching changes, and there wasn't a lot of familiarity within the program.
Okay.
And so last year, I think we went through a pretty steep learning curve
Mhm.
in terms of my coaching style, me getting to know those guys. And the exciting part about it is a lot of those guys are back.
Awesome.
So we had a really good June, and hopefully that will carry over to this season.
So how many seniors did you lose last year, and what you got back this year?
We lost, Jaden Cash, Parker Kinzinger, put me on the spot here. I'll think of it if I'm missing one there. But coming back, we started the season last year with Devin Craig at our point, Brody Judge, Nick Whitty, Matt Carpenter, and Bodie Judge, Brody's brother.
Okay.
So that was our original five. We got some injuries early, and that lineup really never got to see the full season. So we have all those guys back, and then we have some young kids that have done a fantastic job of trying to work their way into that top 7 or 8. And our practices have been competitive. And I told those young kids, and as you guys know both, don't feel like you can't just step in there and be the guy because you're a freshman or sophomore.
That's right.
You know, you come in with that mentality like, I want to dominate this practice regardless of who's in this gym. And that's what that's a culture we've tried to.
We were actually talking
established.
about that yesterday. We talked about how, like you said, doesn't matter your age group, doesn't
That's
matter if you're a
right.
freshman or a sophomore, next guy up, or go out there and compete and try to take that spot. It's not
Exactly.
guaranteed.
Exactly.
That's right.
Go out there and earn that.
Yeah, and we live in such a different era than what it used to be, where a kid, if you can't get on the floor as a freshman, where you're going to try to transfer and go somewhere else, or something like that. And that really irks me, because it used to be like, man, if you could just make a JV team as a freshman, you've really accomplished something.
Absolutely.
And then as a sophomore, if you could crack that varsity lineup, you still have accomplished something. And now kids don't want to go through that process. And you guys are rare talents, but I don't care how good you are for the most part. There's just been a handful of kids since I've been coaching in my 19 years that have been able to go from playing 8th grade basketball last year to stepping on that varsity game on Friday and Saturday nights and really be able to play at a high level.
Yeah.
It's just the speed of the game, the physicality of the game. You may be talented enough to do it, but there's just other pieces that don't translate just until you get through the process a few times. And when you see kids that can play right away at the freshman level, it's really impressive because there's aren't many that are ready for that.
Now, besides some of your juniors coming back that are now seniors, do you guys have any incoming guys that are ready to step up and contribute a little bit? How's your younger class looking?
Our sophomore class is deep. A lot of talented kids, a lot of basketball kids there. We at Lapel, we share a lot of athletes with the other sports, and we're fortunate that class is very deep. We have a couple of freshmen that came in. Mason Kinnemer is a incoming freshman, and physically, the body, he doesn't look like a freshman. So that piece is exciting for that kid. Now it's the speed of the game. He's got to get that part figured out, but he's has a chance to be really good here before his career is over. Quinn Wilkins had a fantastic June shooting the ball, left-handed kid for us that we are going to probably rely on quite a bit to be able to score the basketball at times. So yeah, we're excited. Devin Craig is coming back as a sophomore, and he was one of the freshmen that I talked about last year that played at the point for us. And that was again, very nice player, but just coming in as a freshman, that was a learning curve for him. So yeah, I'm excited about our young kids. And as they go throughout the season, they're just going to keep getting better as well. So hopefully
Yeah,
by
the more-
March we're playing our best basketball.
Yeah, the more time you spend in the gym, the more experience you get, and
You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It sounds like, Coach, that you're creating the right culture. You're creating a competitive culture, which will transfer over onto the court, because if we're all on teams and we're competitive in practice with each other and we're going at each other, that only helps us when it's time for us to band together and go up against an opponent,
Yeah.
So that culture that you just spoke about, man, that competitive culture, man, that is so priceless. And we don't hear a lot of coaches that may talk like that. And so I believe that is what will tell me, how important do you think that will be coming up against some of your more challenging teams? Who do you think that's going to really be a challenge for you guys, to where you can measure how far you guys come?
Yeah, good question. The first part of that is, I think that's the foundation of your program. If you don't have that culture, you may some seasons win 14 games, you may win 12, maybe pop off for 17 wins once in a while, but you're never going to sustain a real high level of success, in my opinion. So that's what we're really still trying to build here. And every day in practice, we're working on that. Our schedule, not being in a conference, it has, I don't know if I say it's disadvantages, but it has unique challenges in that, we're out trying to put a schedule together to play a 2A schedule, but at the same time, there aren't a lot of 2A schools that aren't in a conference. They already have a certain number of games already planned for them. So I kid, I feel like I'm playing in the North Central Conference sometimes. We play Anderson once or twice a season, Newcastle, Muncie Central. I know Newcastle's not in North Central Conference anymore, but my point is, we're trying to put together a schedule to challenge us. Again, all about preparing for March. But to your point, Kojak, or to your question, we open up with Anderson. Fortunately, that's at home this year for us. Last year was an eye-opening experience. Again, starting a lot of young kids, 2 sophomores and a freshman, roll them out at Anderson, and Anderson was really talented. That was an eye-opening experience. But then we turn back right around the next night and play Frankton at Frankton, which is a big-time rivalry game for Lapel. And then the next weekend we go to Pendleton, where they're going to dedicate the floor that night to Coach Buck, who's a big-time mentor of mine.
Yes, absolutely.
Looking forward to being there. I just hope we can somehow put together an effort to keep it competitive over there.
And I just thought about something. Here it is. This is a mentor to you. And man, I'm just thinking, as a player, if I'm one of your players, right, and I'm thinking, okay, how is Coach looking at, Coach Buck? Is he going in saying, man, listen, I don't care nothing about who he is. We're going in here to spoil this night for him. Or do you have the attitude where it's like, hey, listen, guys, this is a great night. Let's just go out and have a great time. Or are you really going, really preaching to your kids, hey, listen, we're trying to spoil this night?
And then to add to that, Coach, how is it for you going back and going against a mentor, against the guy that coached you through high school? Someone that's affected all of us throughout the years. The whole family, the Buck family, has affected all of us. So how does that affect you going back and playing against your head coach?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a unique experience, and I think he would be upset if I said I'm just going there to win or to enjoy the moment. We're going to go there to try to win. There's no doubt about that, and that's the way he would want that too. But I'm just so excited to be able to watch him coach again on the sidelines with a little bit different perspective now. This is going to be my 19th season of being a part of some type of varsity program. And when you were in it as a player, it's such a different perspective of now I've got that 19 years of looking at through a coach's lens. So I'm anxious to watch him coach, but it'll be a special night, well-deserved for him. I'm happy for him and his family, and he's a class act. And I talked to him about him coaching against his dad. He coached against Phil a couple times at Madison Heights, and that was a unique experience for him too. And he shared a lot of stories about that. But so then we go to Pendleton, then we go to Wapahani, who made a semi-state run last year. That's on the road. And then
is Coach Lou still coaching?
He is. And he does a great job. His kids play really hard, and that's always a good challenge for us as well.
So, Coach, looking at your schedule, and I know you don't, you just you say, okay, this could be a win, this could be a loss, something like that. But with your guys' competitive schedule, it may affect your record a little bit. However, I do think it's going to prepare you for the postseason. I mean, you play the better teams, you're going to get better.
Yeah, and I thought last year was. I thought by the end of the year we were playing a pretty good brand of basketball. We beat Oak Hill, who was ranked, I think, 3rd or 4th in Class 3A here, which was a nice win for us. They had a kid, Landon Beagle, that went to Huntington University to play. When we were fortunate enough to beat them. Wapahani knocked us out of the tournament last year, but that was a game that was very competitive. And if we just don't turn the basketball over 16 times, I think we have a great chance to win. But that's probably the biggest thing we're stressing coming into the season. Just take care of the basketball. If I had 2 guards like you guys, we would be in great shape. But our guys are going to be better too. But offensively, we averaged 49.8 points per game last year.
Okay.
Defensive average was 50.6 or something like that. So what I've tried to tell our guys is think about how many things we had to do right to just put ourselves in a position to win when you average 14.8 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
And a lot of those were they're just self-inflicted. There wasn't anything necessarily they did to us.
Yeah.
It's just we got to learn to make. And I guess that's where it comes in. I got to be a better coach too, making sure those guys understand, what the read is, what the right play to make is, and those type of things. And sometimes simple's better, but that's hard for a 16-year-old kid to buy into. Like, just keep it simple.
You're absolutely right about that. Man, you're absolutely right about that. So, Coach, you had said something about not being in a conference. So I'm trying to figure out, I've been over here trying to process, like, wow, how are you not in a conference? How did that play out?
I don't know the entire history on that, Kojak. We were in I think it was the WRC, which was White River Valley Conference, I think, or White River Conference. And then Lapel went to a conference down with some Indianapolis schools, some private schools there, and for whatever reason elected to maybe pull out of that conference. I'm not exactly sure. Coach Howe was around during that time, and I'm sure there were great reasons for it. I don't know what those reasons are. So
does some of that have to do with the class system now, or or like most of the NCCs, are they mostly the bigger schools compared to other conferences? Do they kind of match those conferences up now by class? Or?
Well, I think the conferences within themselves try to do that. Okay. I would say probably the most similar type of conference that you'd say would be like the CIC conference around here with the Frankton, Madison Grant, Alec, Elwood, Blackford, that type of a conference. That's primarily made up of 2A, 3A schools. Okay. And that was a conference when I was at Madison Grant. That was the conference that they competed in. So I got to know a lot of the coaches in that conference really well. And that's a nice basketball conference with a lot of great coaches, starting with Coach Props, and he does a great job at Frankton.
So has it been difficult putting the schedule together?
Well, our athletic director, Bill Chase, does a great job, and we work together closely with that. He'll come to me and say, hey, there's an opening here. What do you think about this team? But what we did find out was, and this was, I'd like to use things to put a chip on my shoulder, right? And to just get some competitive spark.
Yes, sir.
The middle of the summer, we're trying to fill our schedule, and schools would respond back, we're full. We don't have any games. Well, I'll be darned, but like within the last 4 or 5 weeks, schools have been saying, hey, we still need games. I'm like, I need a games in June too. Why not Lapel? They don't play Lapel. So
they hearing about what's going on here.
So now they're driving by Lapel to go play somebody. Like, hey, if you could have stopped here, but it is what it is. And again, I want our kids to buy into that. I want them to embrace that competitive spirit. Like, why not us? Okay, 4A, what does that mean? Like, when you go get your first job, they're not going to give you the application and say, okay, here's the 3A application and here's the 1A application for you. You know, we want to just go compete and try to do things the right way and see if we can't do some things that people don't think we can outside of our program.
And even just build your confidence and prove to yourself that you can do some of those things.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And it helps prepare them for the next level because it's not broken down in class basketball like this.
Yeah.
You know? So to have somebody go and say, hey, listen, I'm performing. Yeah, I'm 2A, but I can play D1, you know, and it's like I need to be able to transition, you know, mentally, you know, being able, you know, coming from a class to where now I'm D1. So I have to play D1 in the class, you know, in the class 2.
Yeah. And, you know, the D1 thing, right now in this current era that we're in with the transfer portal and everything else is I'm trying to get our guys just to, hey, if you want to go play college basketball and you're fortunate enough that someone will allow you to come be a part of that program, there's great basketball being played at JUCO, Division III, NAIA, Division II, wherever you're at. And if you're fortunate enough, sometimes Division I just based on were you fortunate enough to be born big enough, strong enough, and fast enough? You know, do you pass that eye test? And then if you do, are you skilled enough to go?
So therefore, it's more about education than it is just basketball.
Yeah. And that's where, I mean, as a high school basketball coach, it's easy to get wrapped up. And this being my third year as a head coach, I've sometimes felt myself like getting wrapped up in winning and losing. But honestly, at the end of the day, if all the kids that I've coached will graduate and say, he was fair with me, he was honest with me, and he prepared me for life after high school, then that's more important than any win. But as a competitor, well, man, when you're in that moment, it's hard to say, it's all right, as long as they love me in 10 years, you know. Maybe we can win and they still respect me. So
it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
And a lot of fun.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. So, Coach, let me ask you, so how has it been the kids buying into your coaching style, your system? How has that transition been for you and for some of the players?
I think if you were to ask the players, they would probably respond with, it's been good. But I think that they would probably not be willing to be super open about that. Because if you just think about it, like Coach Howe, Hall of Fame coach that was here a long time, had the system going, everything else. Then they have a change, and then another change. And then me, like how, as a 16-year-old kid or a 15-year-old kid, how could that not impact you in some way? Like, okay, well, last season that coach was here and he said this. Now there's this guy here, he said that. This guy's going to probably be gone in a year. You know what I mean? So they're like at an arm's length maybe. But as we start to have some success and they see some things paying off, you know, you're getting that payoff. They're like, oh, okay, Coach might know what's happening here. Might know what's going on. They may think I'm a lunatic at times. But I think kids will let you coach them hard today too. A lot of times you hear like, well, kids, you can't coach them hard today. I think you can. I think you can coach them hard as long as they know that you really do love them and care about them as people first. You could have a genius basketball mind, know every single play in the world and all this stuff, but until they know that you care and you love them, it doesn't really, matter much to them. And so I think that's an important part of it. And we are in a different era. So, if a kid wants to wear an earring to the bus, maybe sometimes you let that go. Or if he wants to have a phone out, whereas 20 years ago, you'd say, well, there wasn't a phone probably, right? But whatever it would be, you gotta go with the time, right? Cut your hair above your ears, and all that.
Yeah.
Facial hair. No.
Yeah, but there's some things that you just adjust with the times a little bit. I think that's just part of the culture again.
But you do hear about the kids not necessarily being uncoachable these days, but you hear how they're just different than it was back in our days. So it's nice to actually hear a coach say that these kids can still take it. These kids can take a hard coach or hard practice or take some discipline and that's what it takes to be competitive and be a better player and be better at life anyway.
I don't think there's any doubt if you look just in this, and I know this is kind of Madison County specific, but I don't think there's any doubt Garth Cohn could still coach today in this environment. Kids would be just saying, Norm Held could probably still coach this day. Phil Buck could still coach in this day. Joe is still coaching in this day, So I think the good ones figure out ways to to push and pull the right buttons to get the best out of a kid and still be able to coach him hard. I think it's a crutch or a cop-out when coaches say, we can't coach him hard today. I don't know if that's true or not.
Absolutely, because life is not easy.
Yeah. No.
So we can't back down from that challenge of coaching the kid, regardless of what he has going on, he or she has going on outside of school basketball. We definitely have to be able to adjust because we're dealing with a different generation of kids.
Yeah.
And so I think that's very important. So for you to say that, Coach, it's like, wow. See, I would like to play for you.
I'd like for you to play for me. Sounds like a good match to me, Coach.
Definitely can't speak for the right now. Because I would be one of them kids, you'd be like, man, listen, this is not your sport. Just go ahead and sit down. Oh, man. But yeah, Coach, it's good to hear that you're willing to adapt.
Yeah.
And to adjust, use wisdom and how you deal with the kids.
Yeah, and we talked at the beginning of our conversation about kids that want to go play college sports or college basketball in this case. And I've just been fortunate enough with our middle daughter. She's a Division I soccer player at the University of Louisville. Our son, my stepson Eli's at Duke playing football, right?
Is he a senior this year?
He's in his 5th year, and unfortunately he was injured, so he may get a medical red shirt. But he's going to graduate with his a master's degree in business from Duke. So that was the most important part of that decision. But so I've seen the work ethic. Like, you may think you're working hard here at this high school level, but to go to that next level when every other kid on that team was the best player from their team, you don't know what, like, you thought you were working hard. You don't have any idea what it takes at that next level. And those coaches really don't, like, your mom and dad aren't there. Like,
Right.
If you don't want to do it, that's fine, because we have plenty more to go about it, So part of that coaching them hard too is, I think, is trying, the ones that want to go on, is make sure they're ready and really know what that next step looks like versus going in there with complete blinders and being overwhelmed by that moment.
And it is a big change.
Oh, as you know, as you guys both know,
I remember my first practice. I remember my very first practice at the Division I level. Now, we played in open gym all summer long, but once you get into that first practice and season, everybody's competing for that same spot. So you might do well during your open gym, but I remember I thought I was fast. I really did. I thought I was fast until I got to college. And then I had bigs running me down, hitting the ball from behind me. And I'm like, okay, I have to adjust my speed. I have to adjust the level of my play. So it was a huge adjustment. The physicality and the speed.
Just one end of the day announcement.
So to wrap this up, Coach, listen, man. Madison County, the county tournament. Give us your prediction for Lapel.
Well, my prediction for Lapel is we'll compete, we'll play hard, and we'll kind of see what happens. We play Elwood, who's vastly improved from years past. We play them in the opening round here. They'll be well coached, and of course, Lapel's not on their schedule right now, and so it's a chance for them to kind of be like, we'll be the hunted, and they'll be the hunter, and that's always when there's a target on your back. That's when things can go sideways in a hurry. But then, obviously, Pendleton Heights and Anderson are probably the two heavy favorites in the Madison County tourney. But we'll see. We have experience coming back. We'll be able to score the basketball, I think. It's just a matter if we can take care of it, not turn it over, and get a few lucky breaks along the way. So
can we expect that offensive number, 49 points a game, can we expect that to be higher this year?
I sure hope so. And we're trying to do some things to get more possessions. We want to get more possessions. I talk to our guys, like, two things. We want to get better shots than them, and we want to get more shots than them. And, if we can do those two things, I think we'll be in a good spot. But we were so young last year. I maybe tried to hold them back a little bit too much to, like, I'll help you control it type of a thing, so we don't turn it over. Or make sure we get a great shot. But they're talented enough. Their basketball IQ is high enough that I'm just going to try to put them in spots to be successful, and then let them try to make the right play at the right time.
And they're more experienced. They have a year under their belt.
Absolutely.
So
kind of loosen the reins a little bit.
A little bit.
Allow certain mistakes. Hey, I can allow that mistake right there because I know what that may turn into.
And you guys know this too, but it's not the mistake itself isn't what always drives me bonkers. It's like you make that same mistake 2, 3, and 4 times. Now I'm like, gosh, either I'm not a very good coach, you're not a very good listener, or you're not very smart. I don't know what it is.
Or how do they react to that mistake? Like, do they pout? Do they hold their head, or do they get their butt back on defense quick as they can, or do they make another play, step up and stop someone? Or
for sure. Yeah, one mistake a lot of times becomes 3 or 4 mistakes. Just because you can't move on. That's right. That's right.
Well, Coach, man, listen, we appreciate it.
Good luck this year. We sure appreciate your time. And just to let you know that we plan on coming out and checking out some games this year.
We certainly welcome. You guys are welcome anytime. What you guys are doing right here for Madison County basketball, 2 guys that when I was little, you guys were like hero figures to me and my twin brother Keegan, looking up to you guys. And the fact that you guys are doing this means a lot to me. And good luck with everything. I hope it goes really well.
Well, Kojak, we say this all the time, but Kojak and I feel so blessed to have been covered the way we were covered back in the days.
Absolutely.
Our high school games were on television, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There was 140 games every year on the radio, and we kind of want to give that back a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
cool.
some of the talent's still here in Madison County and surrounding areas, and we want to show people that. We want to get them back in the gyms. We want to get them interested in the players and the coaches. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Good luck this season,
Thank
Coach.
you very much. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Indiana All-Stars, both from right here in Madison County. We got Kojak Fuller from Anderson High School, Randy Zachary from Anderson Highland. Thank you. They're starting I guess a website or a platform to help promote Indiana high school basketball, specifically here in Central Indiana and more specific Madison County. And they're calling it the Kojak and Zach Show, as you can see here. I've got some things in there I'll pass out to you so you guys can start checking that out. Anything you guys like to say, you're welcome to do that.
Just real quick, listen to your coaches. They've been through it before. They've been in the same spot you guys are in. Another thing is practice game speed because you're going to play in a game just like you practice. If you think you're going hard, you're probably not. Go a little harder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My advice is wisdom, talent without wisdom becomes destructive. You need to know how do you use your talent, because if you don't, then your talent will use you. What I mean by that is you'll find yourself doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing because of your talent. Man, just learn the wisdom, man. Listen to your coaches, man. Learn how to use this and use it as long as you can, man. Absolutely. Sacrifice.
Good luck, guys, this year. We're going to be out. Come say hi to us if you see us out and about. We're going to come cover you guys, put you on the show, put some highlights on there. Have a good season and good luck.
Absolutely.
Thank you.